Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is, Friday, October the 18th, 2024. And as to be expected, we've got a pretty crappy day. It's wet, it's cold, it's overcast, all the things opposite of yesterday. This is what happens when you live in Victoria. Which is obviously well known for having 4 seasons in one day. So I think we're pretty sure we've had all seasons this week. But anyway, we move on. Let's hope it doesn't rain again. It's been raining all night because I didn't bring my umbrella because it's a pain in the ass to carry, although it is a good magpie repellent. Anyway, on to the boxing, and we'll start again with Tim Tszyu. Of course, it's Tim Tszyu week. He's fighting this Sunday against Bakhram Murtazaliev. I did see they've come together at a press conference, I think it was, to size each other up. He's a big unit, Murtazaliev. There's not much of him as far as his body bulk, I suppose, but probably a bit like Fundora. Doesn't really matter, does it? And unlike Fundora, he can really bang and really comes forward and has a crack. So yeah, Tim looks pretty confident. I'm sure he'll be fine on the day. I'm not sure if you didn't see last night, we did a boxing deep dive episode with myself, Tassie Brown, and old mate Big J. So check that out. We went on there for about an hour and talked about the fight this weekend as well as the card last weekend. So I might even put that on Spotify as well. But anyway, still on Tim Tszyu. So it's interesting that apart from this weekend's fight, of course, he has mentioned that he would like to fight 3 times in 2025. There was even talk that he might want to fight again in December, which I think is not going to happen. Even for Tim, I think it's a little bit ludicrous. It's only a couple of months away, but look, you never know. But he's looking to fight 3 times in 2025, and he's outlined 3 opponents. Now, they are sort of predictable in who he wants, but sort of unpredictable in another way, and I'll explain. Jesus, there's another dog. Haven't seen him before. The first one, well, I don't think it's in any particular order, considering some of these guys have fights already scheduled. But the 3 were Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and Jermall Charlo. Now, Terence Crawford, of course, makes all the sense in the world. I mean, he's arguably in the top 2 or maybe 3 pound for pound fighters in the world. Probably is the number 1 at 154. But then he is obviously tied up in a lot of other fights. Will he or won't he? He's obviously Sebastian Fundora's next fight. Well, each other's mandatory, I think it is. I don't know how it all works, but then again, Fundora's going to fight Spence. Now, speaking of Spence, he's the other one on Tim Tszyu's hit list, but Jermall Charlo being number 3. So the problem with it's great that Tim has put all those out there, but I suppose there's a little bit of an issue with all 3 when you think about it, in that, as I said, Terence Crawford has got many other fights he could probably look at, although if Tim does beat Murtazaliev, I think it puts him right in the mix for a Crawford fight, but you get the feeling that Crawford wants Canelo or nothing. And if he can't get Canelo, I think I've said before that the odds are maybe he might even retire. I don't know. I think that you might still see at least 1 more fight, maybe 2 with Crawford. But again, that Canelo fight looms large. And I think it just depends on how impressive Tim is and how the other dominoes fall about whether that's actually realistic. I think if you look at it overall, if you put them all together, I actually really think that this is at 154. I think Tim versus Crawford is the fight. Of course, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge as far as results go, but I think if you put all those fighters on a sheet of paper or a whiteboard, whatever it is, and said, all right, at the end result, if all these people will fight, fought each other, and there's a bit of an elimination tournament, who do you think would be the ideal matchup at the end? And I think a lot of people would say Terence Crawford versus Tim Tszyu. Still think it's a great fight. So, but still an asterisk beside that one. The other one, of course, is Spence. Now that's an interesting one because he's obviously fighting Fundora. Looks like early 2025. The problem with that though is that Tim's actually predicted for Fundora to beat Spence. So I'm assuming if Fundora beats Spence, well, that's actually one of the main things of this is if Fundora beats Spence, well, Spence will obviously retire, you would think. So I'm not sure where that falls into the scheme of things. If he's picked Fundora to beat Spence, Not sure how he's supposed to fight Spence in 2025. Then we have Jermell Charlo, and who knows where that's going to end. Well, end wherever. I mean, he's been nowhere to be seen for over a year now. So where's he at? I've got a feeling we won't see him again. And if we do, he might come back for one fight, look terrible, and then we'll never see him again. I don't know, but there's been absolutely no... Well, I was going to say there's been no word from him. There actually has. He did say he's looking to return, but no fight date, no opponent, no even any mention that he's actually in training at the moment. So for someone that hasn't fought for over a year at that stage of his career, yeah, I've got some really doubts about that. Now, I understand that Tim wants him on his hit list. I get that. He wants to knock off all those current or former champions, so I understand. I'm just not sure how feasible that it is. And I think he has a good shot of definitely beating, obviously, Spence and Charlo. Crawford's probably arguable, but we'll see what he looks like on Sunday, Tim, and probably make a bit more of a assertion on that. But the two opponents that I was just going to say the one opponent he didn't mention in that list, of course, is Sebastian Fundora. Now, again, he's got the Spence fight coming up, and he wants Crawford as well. So it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. And I think a lot of it has to do with, obviously, Tim winning the belt on Sunday, and then how good he looks and how the other cards sort of fall. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how it all works out when you've got Tim wanting to fight Crawford and Spence, and you've got Fundora is fighting Spence and then wants Crawford. So who gets to them first? I'm just really surprised that Fundora wasn't on the list. Maybe he's got him in 2026, I don't know. But one other opponent that wasn't on the list that he has actually mentioned in the last sort of week or so, or his promoters have, actually I think Tim did as well, is, of course, the king of boxing, when you think about it, the face of boxing, Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, look, we discussed this on the show last night. I strongly doubt that it happens. I've got a feeling that it was a little bit of showmanship from No Limit just to get Tim's name out there a little bit more. And they can dream. Tim actually commented that he would love to fight Canelo, and I'm sure he would. But again, at this stage of his career with Canelo, I'm not quite sure that he's going to want a fight with Tim Tszyu. I think he learned his lesson from Jermell Charlo going from 154 to 168. It didn't go down well with fans. Wasn't a great fight. I'm sure that Tim would put up a lot better fight than what Charlo did. But look, it's great to dream. I've just got a feeling that Canelo's probably got about 3 or 4 fights left and he's done. I'm not sure whether Tim can generate enough noise in that time to warrant a fight. I've got a feeling he would need to go to 168 at least for a couple of fights to get Canelo's attention. I don't think, he's not, is he? I mean, he's looking at Crawford. I think if he was going to fight someone coming up from 154, he'd probably look at the mega fight in Terence Crawford. So I doubt that one happens. As I said, I've got a feeling it's just a bit of gamesmanship from the Rose brothers putting it out there and just maybe encouraging Tim to comment on it if he's asked about it. So I strongly doubt that one would happen. But again, you never know in the boxing world these days. So, now another couple of things that have come up. The IBF, they have spoiled the party again. They have mandated the now undisputed 175-pound champion Artur Beterbiev to fight little known German, I think his name's Michael or Michael, however they pronounce it, Michael Eifert, I think he is. I've never heard of this guy. 13-1 from all the counts. He's a German, and they have said to Artur Beterbiev, you have to fight Eifert or we will strip you. This is exactly what they did after the long-awaited undisputed heavyweight fight between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. So I don't know what the IBF are thinking here. I know in their minds it's probably for the integrity of the sport, but you've got to read the room. And everyone's going to want to see the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol. And they're going to want to see, I was going to say, does it really matter whether it's for undisputed? I'm not sure they do. They just want to see the rematch, but it should be for the undisputed title. And as you probably know, Dimitri Bivol his team did lodge an appeal about the fight with Beterbiev, and the word is that it was done to maybe help stop something like this happening with a fight with a lesser light like Ifat. So, and I think the purpose of it was to raise enough noise and exposure and delay things that, and put in that protest for the rematch to block something like this happening, in the IBF saying, all right, well, we have to mandate the rematch rather than mandating someone that I've never heard of ever. Now, he has had one, we'll call it signature win. It was a win over Jean Pascal, former world champion. I think that was a couple of years ago, to get the mandatory shot. And since then, has only had one fight, and it was a 6-rounder against someone that, again, I have no idea who it was. So, and it was an easy second round stoppage. So the IBF, yeah, not doing the sport, in my opinion, any favours in this occasion. Now, I get it sometimes, and I welcome it, that they should be forcing fighters to either fight or be stripped and forcing the mandatories. I get that, that's great. But again, read the room. This is not the occasion to do it, like it wasn't for Fury and Usyk. It should have been, let's mandate the rematch, and then Dubois gets the winner. That should have been how it happened, or Joshua, or whoever it was. Let them fight for the interim title, and the winner gets the winner of Usyk and Fury. And in this case, it should have been let Beterbiev and Bivol fight again, and then we'll look at this German. And the odds are they would probably vacate the belt then, but at least we would know what's happening and it would be the right call. But yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. A couple other things. The card for Tyson, who is it? I was going to call him Tyson Paul. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul has been settled. It is a 4-fight card. I know it falls into the who cares category, except for the Aussie on the card for me in Dana Coolwell. Sorry, I'm just going to bring the list out here. Where was it? Oh, it is absolutely starting to piss down here, by the way, and I'm stepping in water, and it's not great. All right, where did I see it? I'll bring it up there. You'd think I'd be a little bit organised, more organised than this, wouldn't you? Where is the card? I had it on here somewhere. One more second here. Let's have a look. No, I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Sorry. Here it is. Riveting TV this morning, or video. All right, now it's another female fight. So I've already got Serrano and Katie Taylor, which will be a fantastic fight. I can't wait for that one. Of course, Dana Coolwell. So that'll be great. So the undercard should be awesome. By the way, they're talking about this card being, and especially the main event, of course, being the most watched boxing event in history, live on Netflix, as you probably know. So it's in Arlington, Texas, November 15. It is, who is it? Shadishia, the Sweet Terminator Green, against Melinda the Whip Watpool for the vacant WBO super middleweight world title. So the girls on the card as well. So I think we've spoken about this before as well. I don't think the women's, and this is, I think D-Style brought this up on D-Style Boxing. I fully agree with, they should sort of cap the women's division at maybe 160 or 168, so we're not getting sort of nothing fights for nothing belts. But that's another story entirely. So that is the card, November 15 in Arlington, Texas. Quickly before I go, I'm going to maybe talk about this tomorrow in full. The ESPN pound for pound rankings have just come out. I'm probably going to do a video on the pound for pound for Aussies. I've been requested for that a little bit lately, and of course the world. So this is the ESPN ratings, a lot better than the BoxRec rankings, by the way. If you watched my video yesterday to hear me talk about that. So Alexander Usyk is number 1, Terence Crawford is number 2, Naoya Inoue is number 3, Artur Beterbiev is number 4, Canelo Alvarez is number 5, Dimitri Bivol is number 6, Jesse Rodriguez is number 7, Gervonta Davis is number 8, Shakur Stevenson is number 9, and Junto Nakatani is number 10. So, yeah, look, again, I'll have a bit of a look at that. I'd say straight away, I'm not sure I'd have Artur Beterbiev in front of Canelo. I think I'd still have Canelo at number 4. Arguably, you could have either Usyk, Crawford, or Inoue in any particular order at 1, 2, 3. I think I would have Inoue at number 1, worst case number 2. That's straight off the bat. And then the other one is Shakur Stevenson. I don't think I would have him in the ratings at all. I'm just trying to think who I would replace him with. Again, I'll have a think about that and maybe put a list together tomorrow for the pound for pound, and maybe the Aussie list as well, although I might do that separately. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But guys, that is it for today. Hopefully I'll try and keep you updated with what's happening over in Florida with Tim. We're only, 3 days away anyway, so it'll come around pretty quick. But have a great day. I'm going to try and get home pretty quick before it starts pouring down even worse, and get on with the day. So guys, we will catch you tomorrow.